Hello, welcome to Lessons Learnt. I'm Sherry. This is your Wednesday video. Today we're going to get that part 2 in of my mother-in-law's stash that I have inherited. And you saw a part 1 video already on it. Me kind of discovering, opening the boxes and seeing what was there and so on and so forth. So here we are with part 2. I'm going to show you what I've been doing with the stash to organize it, to freshen it up, to put it away, all of those things. So I'm not 100% finished with this project, but I'm about 90% finished. So I thought it was time to let you in on what's been going on, and also, just to kind of wrap up this little mini series here of 2 videos. So I'm going to go over to the cutting table and show you here in a minute all of the fabric that I have processed. I say all loosely. I don't have the 10-inch squares and the 5-inch squares that have been processed from the scraps from the bigger pieces over there, because I don't have the proper storage for that just yet. So there's quite a bit of that, and if I can get a clip of it, I will. We'll see. But you know what 5-inch and 10-inch squares looks like, and there was quite a few 5-inch ones. So I didn't want anything to go to waste, not even the crumbs. So you'll even see a clip about the crumbs. So sometimes when a fabric stash has been in a closet for a long time, it gets a little bit of a stale smell to it, and I didn't really want to bring that odor into my fabric. So I thought, you know what, I can't wash everything. I have to, decide what can be washed and what can't be washed. Obviously, small pieces cannot be washed, like a fat quarter. So let me show you right here what kind of things that I did to prepare the fat quarters and some of the smaller pieces for storage. So how am I processing these fat quarters that I'm not washing? First of all, I open it up with the whatever fabric was outside when it was folded. I take a lint roller and just pick up anything that might be on there that I don't want on there, I don't want pressed on there, just to kind of make it nice and smooth. I've been using Wild Mint Flatter, and I take a spray across the front, about like that. I got my iron on my hottest setting. This little Oliso iron, I have a love-hate relationship with it. I love the sole plate of it. It glides so nice and it never gets dirty. But this handle part here is not comfortable for my hand. And my fingernail is digging in right there. So I'm not starching. I'm just using that flatter on here and making it smell fresh. And then I take the short ends, the selvage and the short cut end, fold those over together, and then fold the fold over to those, and then turn it this way, and I fold it like this, and try not to, wad that up in the center there. So that's in half, right? And so then I open it back up, and there's my little crease. So I just meet my ends to that crease, leaving about a pinky width free between the 2 raw edges there, the 2 sides. Fold it one more time, and there's your fat quarter. And the side that has the 2 is the back side. This is the front. So as you can see, I have a pile here that I've done, and I've got 2 or 3 more left. Here is a half yard. I fold them the same way. The only difference is I've got, instead of one fat quarter. I have two basically that are attached at the folded edge. So same thing, do the same steps, fold it over like this and like this, just like we did before. It's the same footprint, it's just double the fabric. Fold it over. There's my fold. It's a little bit thicker, but I just go ahead and fold them that way anyway. That way I can use the same kind of containers to sit them into. Same size, just thicker. So that's how I've been doing that. And then I also have these bins that I found that it goes into perfectly, and you'll be seeing that here in just a second. So next what we would have would be maybe bigger pieces like half yards and full yards and multiple pieces of yardage, you know, like you might have a 2 to 5 or more length of fabric that needs a way to be stored. Getting back to being freshened up again, those bigger pieces of yardage, I'll show you what I did to prepare those for washing in the washing machine and dryer. Okay, so how am I laundering this fabric? What I'm doing is I'm getting the big pieces, I'm picking out like colors, and I know this brown and yellow is pretty contrasting, but it's the same color family. I don't think anything is going to bleed on anything. So I'm just going to unroll all of these, unfold them like here, get them all loosened up, and put them down in the washing machine. Now before I came down here with this to the house, I did some pinked edges on all the edges. Not a great job, but it'll keep it from raveling out all over the place. So that is how I did that. So I'm just going to put these down in here, and then I'll show you what I'm using to wash it with and what cycle to use. My best guess is that was about 12 to 15 yards of fabric. I wouldn't put any more than that, and I did not mash it down. It's just loosely laying in there, so there's probably 5-6 inches of space above it. So I use these Earth Breeze sheets. I get them online, but you can just use your regular laundry detergent that you like to use. Doesn't matter. So I'm going to put that in there, and then I also am using Biz. I love this product. It's been around for eons. You can't find it at all stores, but if you find it at yours, be sure and have some on hand, because it is an odor eliminator. So if any of the fabric that's been stored for a while has a certain smell to it, this isn't too bad. It just smells like her house, but you know, I'd like to get that out, so I'm going to use this in this little cup area right here, and then we'll get to the cycle. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on quick wash. I have a quick wash. If you have a light cycle of some kind, you can pick that. And then I'm going to do the cold. And then I'm leaving that on high so it gets wrung out good. It's a light soil level. And turn that on. It's 36-minute cycle, so it doesn't take a lot of energy. And we'll see how this turns out in the dryer. And another thing I forgot to tell you is I've been pinking all the edges. Maybe I said that in the last clip, I'm not sure. But I'm just using my good old-fashioned gingers. I probably used them more in the last week or two than I have in my entire life. But it does really work to keep down the strings and of things getting tied up with the ravelings. So I don't have any of that going on. I just have a little bit of trash from the edges of these in my washer. Not even enough that I feel like I need to reach down there and get it. So that's a good tip. Okay, so once I got those out of the dryer, I folded them like they were when they were bought, with the, you know, just the width of fabric folded. So then I would come back here, and if they needed an ironing, I would run the iron over them and then just flat fold those. So if I had big pieces that were, you know, 2 yards or more, I would just flat fold them. So I would have them this way, and I'll show you that over on the table when I get over there. So I have some of that left to do. I've been doing so much of it, I've just gotten really, really tired of ironing. So there's a small amount that still needs to be done, probably about an hour's worth of ironing, but I just didn't have it in me today to get that finished. Okay, so now that I've rolled all of the fabric onto boards, any print or solid was rolled onto a comic board, and you'll see those over there on the table as well. So you'll kind of get to see, you know, what the whole stash looked like as far as quantity. It's not all there, but it's 90% there. So it's very much the size of my own stash, minus fat quarter bundles and layer cakes, pre-cuts, things like that. I have quite a bit of that stuff that she never had. So the rest of my fabric is probably about equal to what this stash is. So let me go over there and show you what that looks like. And then hang on, that won't be the end. I made some interesting discoveries in opening the other two boxes that I didn't open on part one that you're going to want to see. Ta-da! Here are all the fabric pieces in their respective categories. All of these on the comic boards that are 8.5 by 11 are a yard or so, somewhere less than 2 yards, and sometimes a little bit less than a yard. The half yards are here, and I have more of these bins. As a matter of fact, these are the fat quarters. These are the half yards. These are the bins that I got at Target. Let me insert a clip of me talking about these bins. As I get the freshly cut fat quarters back from Allie, I've been pressing them with flatter, a scented flatter. I really like the wild mint scent, so that's working out really well to give them a fresh freshness that they needed. They were a little bit stale. So I'm at the Jenga stage here, so it's getting precarious. I went looking for something to store these in. I don't know if all of them will fit in here once I get through all. This is just part of what I've processed, so there's more like this. So what I'm going to do, I had went to Meijer and found this Bright Room modular stackable 2-drawer slide out bin, and it has a back to it, a solid back. It's solid all around, and then also you can get another one that will fit into the top the way it's shaped with this lip. So there's a little bit of cardboard in here I need to get out. These pull out. Get this out. Nice cardboard for storing binding on, or templates, whatever you might need cardboard for. Okay, so those just fit right back in there. Now these are obviously too tall. There's going to be some wasted space here. I'll show you. If I stick my fat quarter in here, I've still got, I don't know, 2.5 inches high or so. So I think what I'm going to do is separate these all out by color so that I can see what color is where from any angle in this unit here. I think it's going to be kind of a cool thing. So I can lay some flat on top of these and still be able to see what colors I have from all sides. I'm going to go ahead and sort these out by the colors that I have currently, and I'll start loading the bin. So I just left some room back here because this will fill in some more. It could be that, you know, eventually the reds and the purples will end up on top. And I think they will fit nicely side by side like this. And then I put the blacks and browns and golds over here, and the creams, a little bit of peach. I did put one peach over here, or did I? No, I think I changed it to over here. So I think this is going to work out really good. One thing that really drives me crazy are these stickers. When I see people with their bins and they have stickers from the store still on them, makes me crazy. I have to get it off. That one on the bottom I think is probably okay. That way I can see what it was. Bright Room is the brand name. All-purpose 2-drawer storage. Can be stacked up to 3 units. Maximum load recommended 22 pounds per unit. And this was from Target. I think I said Meijer, but it was from Target. Target has some really good storage stuff. So if you don't have a Target close to you, you can just go on Target online and look up Bright Room. And I think you'll probably find all manner of these acrylic storage bins. I think that's going to be great, because I can see them from all sides. Yes, I like it. Sort of has a solid back to it. Nice. I might go back and get 2 more if you can stack 3. Okay, so I have a little more work to do. I have more fat quarters that I need to process, probably about half the amount of this. Don't have too many half yards other than in the solids. I might be having a few more half yards in the solids. These particular boards are the ones that May sent me, and they are smaller. They are like 6.5 by 11, something like that. And so I put all the solids on those. And then this is flat fold. I have solid, and I have many more colors of this solid that I need to process. I have the blacks and the browns and maybe some blues that I need to process in that. And then here are all the large pieces of yardage that I can use for backings, backgrounds, things like that. So these are folded like this, and I have a shelf that those will sit on nicely. What else? I think that's it. So let's just go back over to the sewing table, and I'll talk to you about those unexpected surprises. So I have a small moving box full of some goodies that aren't foldable fabric necessarily. Some of it is, but some of it consists of projects that she had started, some kits and some different things like that. I didn't know about one of these things in particular until I unboxed it from the box in the garage. And so I'm just going to show you some of these goodies. They are goodies, but this is a kit, and it makes this right here, and everything is in there to make this little table topper. So I would really like to make that. It's just a 21.5-inch square. Has a little applique on it. So this is my colors. So I would really like to make that myself. And then this one, I think I showed you in the first video. I was missing one of the fabrics that it listed on the pattern, and I was able to find that in the stash outside of the bag. So I put that back in there, and now I have another project that I can do. I wanted to see what the size was on this. It's a little bit bigger. It's called Swirling Fans Table Topper, 31 inches square, but not too terribly big, and I can see myself finishing that. So, it wasn't even started, so I can see myself starting and finishing that. I also found 2 packages of some solids, just some, like your basics, and this is like corals and peaches, and I think these are half yards, because this one in the purple pink, well, mostly pinks I guess, it says on the ticket here that there are 7 half yards. So I'm assuming this is about the same. So I just left those in there. I may get them out and decide to, you know, put them in with the other half yards that I have. Haven't decided yet. And then, let's see, I wanted to save that for last. Now, you all saw the chickens. Remember the chickens? I discovered she had 4 completed. I wanted to show you one in particular that was just so cute. And maybe I've showed these that first day too, but let's see here. Where is it? There's one that I just thought was really, oh, this purple rooster. I just love this purple rooster. Isn't he cute? So she has 4 of these done. That one, this one, and these are not the Lori Holt ones. This is way before Lori Holt. Another hen with chicks. And here's another one with chicks. And this one is the one that she was on when she got sick of doing it. So you can see even the embroidery thread's still there. She was hand doing the blanket stitch and some of the other embroidery you could do on the tail feathers there. And then the rest of them, I think there's just 2. Is there just 2? So there's 6 of these. I could easily finish these. So she did the head and the feet and the comb and the beak, all of that. Yeah, that's what she did. The comb, the beak, and the feet. Because she was using a yellow thread for that. So those could be finished up in the black that she was using. And there would be, 6. 6 is a good number to make a square or a long runner. Something like that. I also have some things here I haven't even really looked through. But this one has a duck in it. A little yellow ducky. I wanted to see what this was with you. It's definitely something that she did some hand work on and added some yellow fabric to, top and bottom. And there are more of them. So it's kind of like she would do one and then get tired of doing it. So there's some here that look like they could be fused. Here's a little one that's fused on already. Oh, there's another one. And another one. So these need to be appliqued down. I could always just jump on the machine and do these as well, since I'm not much on hand work. There's a bunch of them. They all seem to be in pretty good shape too. Some of them are calico, some of them are just yellow. And she was using the 6.5 inch square piece for the squares that she was cutting for the background. And that's called Just Ducky. This one is Just Ducky, 5.5 by 9.5. No, that's not right. Let's see here what she did. Oh, this was the bottom piece. This was the bottom and the top piece. So see, we did not have rotary cutters and rulers. We had to cut out a template with our school ruler and scissors. So that's what all of this stuff is. And there's more of it in here as far as templates of different sizes, the fabrics that she was wanting to use. And here is the pattern, looks like. It's not the pattern, it's just a picture. So this is probably the big one that I held up that she was working on here and got finished pretty much, other than I don't know if there was going to be an eye on there. Probably was going to embroider an eye on there. And then I dropped something. What did I drop? Oh, it's the other. Hold on just a second. So it was a free quilt pattern. Let me see if I can fish it out of here. There's another yellow one and a little yellow one. It's part of the pattern. Here's another pattern she was wanting to do, looks like. That's cute, isn't it? And squares that were cut. And here were the yellow ones for the ducks. Here's her duck pattern. She had this size, and then the 3-inch one and the 4-inch one. And there's a few more things in here. An extra duck template, and then some of her yellow and white she was using. And then this is not sure why she had this, but it was a page pulled out of a magazine. Doesn't say what magazine it is, but it says Grandma's Secrets on it, and it's all bears. So that was, I didn't know that was in there. Let's see what else. I may have showed you these the last time, but these are some grandmother's flower garden that she did, and look, the back looks as good as the front. There's some kind of folding method she's using here to get that size. So these could definitely be appliqued onto something. Here's another project that she started and did a couple of. She was really good at doing the prep work, but didn't want to finish with the blanket stitch. These are little Scotty dogs. Those are done. And then here's the last one. She didn't get quite finished with it, but there's a whole stack of these. There's a ton of them. All different colors. All different prints. I'm not going to show you all of them because that would take forever. And then all of the little, here's a little one that was ready to be fused. And all her different templates that she used. And I don't know if there was a pattern in here or not. Let me look. Yes, there is a little pattern. I don't know. It kind of looks like she just made those templates herself. She would see something that needed to be made a template of and just kind of do it her own way. So there's no pattern here. It's just a picture. So that's how you do it in the old days. You just make it up yourself if you want to do something. I'm sure there was a pattern available, but, you know, if she thought she could do it, then she did. Now, here's a real treat. I had to look at these for a second. But look, they would have to be on point, I guess. So, this was cool. They're all done. The 12 dogs are all done. They were pieced. Now see, we would probably do some sort of paper piecing maybe. I don't know, there's curves. Can't do paper piecing with curves. So here, I'll just show you real quickly what they all look like. I would say these fabrics are from the 70s or 80s. Maybe 80s, probably. So this could be made up into a quilt just right now. Anyone have any ideas on how that could be finished? I guess I could take some of her fabric, because I'm recognizing some of this fabric, I have it. So, you know, I could take that and do the opposite blocks. make it scrappy for the opposite blocks. You know how when you have one on point, you have these big triangles? Could use the print fabrics for that. All very soft in color. So there's 12 of those. And then here is it's funny, the notes people put on stuff. She said Scotty Dog, June 2004 is when she was making it. Hard to do, but not impossible. She said she made 13. And it's from a quilt magazine of spring 2003. But there again, she had to cut out she had to trace the templates. And then the pattern is there. So I'll get that pattern out and look at it too and see, well, why don't I just do that now and see what they wanted you to do with them. I can see it right now. Here's what you do. You put those corners on like that. So, yeah, so you would have a big corner here on each side. So those would be pretty big blocks on point. And I don't see any other directions in here. It's just a picture. Just a picture. So she figured that out herself. No pattern. She just figured it out herself. Okay, so this is one that I looked at for a while. It's barely started, but it's this little doll blanket right here. And the only thing that she got done was that center star, and then she has all the fabrics cut for it. Let's see if I can find that one star for you. This is very well done. Here it is. She put that star on there, applique, and did the blanket stitch really nice and neatly around. As you can see, her work there looks pretty good. Looks real good. Tiny. You know, she had some vision issues, even as a younger person, just like Mark does. But she did this, you know, hand sewing. It was hard to see. And I think that was one of the reasons why later on in life, you know, she got to where she didn't want to do any of that. Okay. So there's that, and then looks like all the pieces of fabric that she was going to use for this, I think. So there's that. And then I found get this, I found a finished quilt. Yes, I did. Now, she was probably going to do some embroidery or something on this. But these are teapots. Let me see if I can stand up and let you see it. It's probably about 42 by 54, something like that. So this is basically finished. I don't know if she had plans to maybe do something around the teapots, but you wouldn't have to. And she did do this on the sewing machine. So I'm gonna long arm this and keep that. And there's some more fabric related to teapots. So I think she got into teapots at one point. And I'll show you why I say that. Teapot fabric. More teapot fabric. Let's see here. There we go. There's a selvage on here. It says Hancock Fabrics. So all kinds of teapots. Here's some more of it. I think it's the same one. Phyllis Hoffman. I think it was like Phyllis Hoffman for Hancock Fabrics or something like that. So there's those. This is nice filling fabric. Here is a piece of fabric that was in with this. Beautiful. I think it was part of the line. Let me see if I can see. I think it is. Yes, it's the same. It's a part of the teapot line. More teapots, same one. Let me see if there's more of the selvage on this one. Nope. There's some thing like this. I think she had that. Yeah, that was what was on this, that dark blue. All of the scraps are here for that. And then here is another piece of it. Here it is. Phyllis Hoffman presents Tea Time exclusively for Hancock Fabrics. So here is the fabric for that. You could make a cute little set of cafe curtains with this, couldn't you? That'd be really cute. Here's probably the backing for that quilt. So I already have that. And then here are all the tea time books. So evidently in, let me see, when would this have been? This is the Phyllis Hoffman Tea Time book. This is the quilt she made. I want to see when this is from. Let me see. Phyllis Hoffman. I remember that name now. Definitely from my 2004. So she made this in 2004-ish. And then there are some other quilt magazines here. This memory quilt book. I don't know why she had a memory quilt book. I never knew her to make a memory quilt. But this is a good book. This has some really, really good patterns in it. Do you all have this in your stash of quilt books? Let me see when it's from. There's some great patterns in here. And it's, you know, kind of designed where you could have like a one block with people's names on it, signed, something signed, or it could be like a family tree type thing. But the patterns themselves are really awesome. This is from 1999. Let me just show you an example. Okay, Album of Memories. It's kind of a classic thing, but see how they made it to where they could sign that center of that block. So there's a whole bunch of these in here, and you know, it wouldn't have to be a memory quilt necessarily. You could just put another, you know, piece of fabric in there or something. So we might be using this to, you know, design some new patterns with. Get some ideas from there. She had marked Jacob's ladder, a Jacob's ladder, and a crow's feet. That's cool. I'm getting distracted. And another quilt magazine from 2003. Quilt. A Sunbonnet Sue. I know that was one of her most favorite ones to do, was Sunbonnet Sue. And I don't have anything from her that has Sunbonnet Sue, but she has 2 Sunbonnet Sue books. 2000 is what that one is. And then there's one last thing I need to show you. And I have not been through this completely, but it is an entire quilt that's not put together. I don't know how much of this there is, and I'm not going to go looking through it in detail right now. But she did this from this magazine, American Patchwork and Quilting, April 2004. This is the quilt she was working on. And I just want to see kind of how far we got here. I don't know. Maybe this is a different one. This looks different. Oh, it's this one. See, I told you I'm just looking at this for the first time. This is the one she was making. And she made these blocks. Look at this. Oh my goodness. And there's buttons on there. That's one completed with a yo-yo and a button on it. The rest of them don't have the yo-yo and the button, which I'm kind of glad of, because if I put this together, I would have to take those off to long arm it. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 of those. I wonder how many. 2, 4. Is there 6? Number of blocks, 6. Yes, she did all 6 blocks. And she only has one completely finished with the yo-yo and the button. But there's a bunch more stuff in here for it that she's got. I don't know. Larissa's Folly is what it's called. And she's got all of her stuff in here for it. So I might have to investigate a little more with all of this and see what that other quilt had to do with it, if anything, because there's a lot more stuff in here. So this might be 2 quilt kits. It might be Larissa's Folly, and it might also be Tulip Fancy, which is this one, because there's a lot of stuff in here. I don't know. Everything's marked. She's got like pins and everything marked of what these are. And instructions on what to do with them. So I didn't know this was in here. I didn't realize that it was nearly finished blocks for sure on this Larissa's Folly. So I was excited about these. I really was. I think these are really cool. Here's the finished one again with the tulips. So yeah. Pretty cool. And it looks like maybe she did this on her sewing machine partly. And maybe partly by hand. I'm not sure. I don't know. She may have done this all by hand. What do you think? Is that all by hand? Tiny, tiny stuff. Very tiny. And the stitches don't even show on the top hardly. So that's it, guys. This is probably the last you'll see of it. I might show you on either a Monday quilt chat or Finish It Friday how I put everything away in my room. I just did not have the time. I just didn't have the time to rearrange my whole room to get this stuff put away. Okay, so this is the stash. This is all of it. I've been through everything. I've processed pretty much everything. A little bit left to do. Now I have to put it all away. We'll see where it fits in here. I gotta figure something out. I'm still not totally, figured out exactly how this is going to get put away. But it's going to get put away because it's a wonderful stash, and I don't want to let any of it go or be wasted. And I don't even want the very last crumbs to be wasted. So, I'll show you the box of crumbs right here that I have that someone has already laid claim on. So from the biggest, longest of pieces to quilt kits to 5-inch squares, all the way down to 2.5-inch squares. Thanks for hanging in here with me and waiting a little bit of extra time to see how I got all this put together. And maybe in future projects you'll be seeing some of this fabric. Who knows? I hope so. I hope to use it. I have plans to use it. We'll see what happens in these kits. I would like to do a little something with some of it, at least as a token of the work that was put into each of those projects. All right, thank you again, and we will see you back here on Finish It Friday to see what I finished and what you finished. Have a great one. Bye.